using a lap belt and took the position that you should have had a lap belt in it.
And a shoulder.
And it should have had a shoulder belt, not just a lap belt.
Yeah.
And the United States Supreme Court ruled that even though you're following the standards, it was unsafe for Mazda not to have shoulder belts installed in the seats, and they could recover, assuming they could prove the negligence, against Mazda for not having the three-point belt in the back there. That's pretty interesting.
So the car company can meet federal standards,
but it may not be safe.
But it may not be enough.
Yeah, and in fact,
interesting.
What the court, a family woman killed in a head-on collision may sue the maker of the minivan she was riding in for failing to install lap and the shoulder belt. Oh, and that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Want to see a video?
Sure, let's do a video.
Are you guys down there ready for a video?
So everybody in the audience, get ready.
Okay.
We're going to show
a video.
A video.
All right.
And then we'll talk about it, or you can talk about it.
Well, I'll be surprised. Go ahead.
Oh, no, not that video.
No, not that video.
So there's a guy going up the steps. Oh.
You know.
Oh, he's holding on.
I think he's breaking things. You know, I hate escalators.
Can we see that one more time?
Yeah,
Let's just run that one more time.
Yeah.
Guy gets on the escalator.
That's the same guy. Yeah, it's the same guy. And he doesn't get on very well.
So, what's the liability of the store for having an escalator? What are you supposed to make the guy wear safety belts on every time you go up an escalator? It's like a ski lift?
Yeah, I think it's, unless there's something wrong with the escalator.
It looks like, yeah. Well,
it just looked like an escalator. It didn't look like it was jerking or stopping or going too fast. It looked like every escalator that I've ever seen, assuming that it was operating, and that one looks like it was operating just fine. So I don't know how one could find the store liable. It seems like he just simply stepped on the stair wrong.
Well, then maybe he
fell backwards.
What's the duty or obligation of a escalator person? Are you going to? I mean, I can visualize it. I've gone to the circus before, and when the people are doing the high wire acts, they put a net under them.
Yeah.
So we should have butt holders for everyone who gets on one of the
moving safety belts. I don't know.
It's pretty absurd, but
I agree with you. I don't see any liability there. I feel bad for the guy, and it could happen at any time. Somebody can misstep. In fact, you know what? I'm just remembering right this second that there was a child who was much more seriously injured by playing on an escalator, and they got their hand caught, and it was much more seriously injured.
I remember we had a case where someone had gone to an airport, when you go to an airport, you have to give them the luggage, and then behind there you see they stick the luggage on a conveyor belt. This young child was standing next to the parents. They're talking to the ticket person. She walks through the hole where the scale is.
The little kid.
She steps on gets up, climbs onto the freight thing, and then gets her hand caught in the conveyor belt. And unfortunately, the shutoff switches were nowhere around. They had to, horrible injury. That's a lot different. That was an unsafe condition for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot different than an escalator. But what about the escalator in this situation? And there's a 2-year-old that gets caught in it, that shouldn't have been in it by themselves.
Well, whose responsibility is that?
Well,
the escalator's just there.
But the negligence of the parent is not contributed to it. Is it contributed to the
child?
The child by themselves, the 2-year-old?
Well, let's say that the child is injured going up a perfectly normal and perfectly appropriately operating escalator, and because the child's not supervised, the child injures a hand because it reaches in the wrong place.
Well, what about just having a beam that is, 3 feet off the ground, and if you're not as high as the beam, it doesn't go up. You got to have a parent.
Then the escalator shuts off.
Yeah, then you don't have the problem.
Then you're throwing people off who are farther up the escalator.
There are all kinds of problems with conveyor belts, and escalators,
Yeah.
and then the elevators that stop in between the floors.
Well, if the escalator or the elevator is not operating properly, and somebody's injured as a result.
But
that's easy.
I think in looking at video, the one that we just saw probably is not going to.
I agree.
25 million people are not going to watch it, and I don't see there's any basis for liability. But there are hundreds of thousands of lawyers in California, so some lawyer faced with that case, I bet you would file suit.
Somebody and that same lawyer is going to find an engineer who's going to say that escalator was going a half a mile faster than every other escalator in Southern California.
That's a different situation. That's sort of like the hot coffee, where they found that they would get more cups of coffee by keeping the coffee heated more, and then the coffee spilled on them.
Right.
And they
knew it was.
And they knew it was bad.
Yeah.
So maybe on Thanksgiving through Christmas they run the escalators faster because they get more people shopping. That would be a different case.
Yeah, I agree. That could be pretty interesting. Well, today it was the how many times has he gone through this? He has been in jail now. He's been in state prison for 42 years. This was his 13th parole hearing today. He's 66 years old, and he had originally been given the death penalty, but because he was given the death penalty before the 1972 Supreme Court determination that outlawed the death penalty as an institution, he was returned to state prison, but now for a life sentence with a possibility of parole. And today was his parole review day. Do you think he got parole? And who am I talking about?
You're talking about Charlie Manson.
No.
No?
No.
Who are you talking about?
But very, very close in time. Sirhan.
Oh, well,
I suspect that he's not going to be paroled today.
Probably not in the best interest of the public in California to parole him or the other one.
I'll tell you. I don't think it's in Sirhan's best interest to be out on parole either. I think he's safer in state prison.
I'm not worried about their safety. I'm worried about preventing other people from having horrible injuries from these kind of people.
I agree. He should stay there the rest of his natural
life. All
life.
right. I think we've wrapping it up.
It's go time.
Why don't you rap?
Okay.
I'll rap a dap, tap, and wrap it.
Here's a little rap for you. We'll see you pretty soon on Legal Help Live, City TV Channel 16 in Santa Monica, LA 36. Ralph here, Steve there. We're out for now. Have a great week. See you later.
And instead of rapping on